this morning in our education pillar, we're going to look at how we run our education pillar support group protocol. Now, this protocol, it can be used for parents, it can be used for young people, it can be used for teachers. I mean, it can be used for any group of people, actually. So it could be used for doctors or medical practitioners or soldiers, anyone. I mean, it works for any group. So the purpose of our group is to lovingly support each other to maintain our emotional health. The agreement that we kind of make as a group beforehand is to do no harm, maintain confidentiality, which is going to be difficult with this one because we're going to spread it out all over the internet. So obviously think carefully about what you want to say and what you want 10 million people to hear. And then the last bit, this refers back to something we were discussing earlier in our meeting that Mahesh said about hold each other in our hearts, that we're kind of supporting each other, we're taking care of each other here. And the process follows a welcome, identifying issues, empowerment, actions, and farewells. So under the welcome, the facilitator shares the purpose, which I've just done, philosophy and agreement, and explains the process. And then we ensure that time is shared equally throughout the meeting. So that's the facilitator's role. We then move on to identifying issues. Now, each member has equal time to share their own key issues with the group. So then we move on to empowerment. So in this section, you can either think out loud about possible solutions, things that are going to help you, or you can ask for specific information or support from other participants if you wish to. So if a lot of us have had a similar issue, we might say, oh, Sam, how did you deal with this? And this is where we switch it. So we switch from just looking at an issue to now, okay, right, how do we empower ourselves? And yeah, like I say, you can either think out loud, which is rather beautiful to do because that's quite empowering actually to think, okay, this is my issue, what can I do about it? And then the very last bit here is each member shares their action plan to move towards, and this is the crucial bit, move towards emotional health. Now, it would be very easy to put spiritual health in there. I think that most of us have a spiritual dimension that we're aware of. Some people don't. So I deliberately didn't use the word spiritual in there because I didn't want to kind of put people off. But if you have got a spiritual dimension and you're accessing that and you're aware of that, then by all means think about how we support our spiritual health. So this last bit of the support group is just thinking about, okay, where do we go from here? So through the process, if we think about the process that we're going through, that I would encourage you to use with people all around the world, and do what I've done today and just teach people how to go through the process. The last thing we do here is a farewell. The idea is that we've gone through, we've kind of taken a dip into the negative and awful things. We've then gone up into empowerment. We've then thought about what actions we're going to take. And then we don't just leave it hanging there. It's important to say goodbye to each other. And this bit here, confirm a time for the next meeting. Now, we know our meetings are on a Friday morning, 9 o'clock UK time, 10 o'clock Central European time. The reason we do that, I mean, this is all thinking psychologically. I mean, the warfare against us is psychological. We have to use psychological tools back. This is all about us keeping buoyant. So we need to keep our psychology up at the level of, above the level of theirs. I mean, our spirit is above the level of theirs anyway. Just by definition, they are psychopaths, these people. So when we do our farewells, we end on a high. We don't dip back and say, oh yeah, that's awful what so-and-so said, and I know it's terrible and it's affecting me as well. We don't do that. The farewell is we end on a high. So each member shares a highlight from the meeting. And I just think this is a wonderful way to run a support group. I've run support groups for men, for my children when they were teenagers. I used to get their teenage friends together, and we would do this this very, very similar format for them when they were going through secondary school. We met for 2 years. It was absolutely amazing. So this protocol It's on our website in the section education, and then there's a little box which says support groups for parents, and this is available in there.